Alright guys, this is the Stam Sorc build. I'm going to show this real quick. This is going to be a pretty straightforward guide on the first iteration of Stam Sorc that I'm running. This first video here is going to be focused on PvE really. I'll have a follow-up video for PvP. I need to do a little bit more testing with it, although I can briefly go over that. Let me start with the PvE though. I'm going to switch my bars up. Sending a lot of messages rapidly, okay. So, the whole goal with this Stam Sorc build is you get over 5k weapon damage. You hit like a truck. You'll Wrecking Blow for like 25k on crits. And, you know, it's good DPS. So, we're going to push the Stam Sorc to its max potential here. Now it's going to have a lot of weapon damage, it's going to have good base stam, but it's going to lack entirely regen. And in that respect you want to rely on, again, if this is PvE and you're doing like 4-man, you're going to rely on a Templar to get their shards, which restores stam, and also they can restore it through the aura. Same thing is going to apply for PvP, actually, the build that I use, because most of my PvP is group PvP. But anyway, jump into this. I'll start with the equipment. First of all, there's the familiar 5-piece Ravager, same thing I was using in 1.6. So this is going to be too heavy here, and oops, I got an echo going on there. So you're going to have 2-piece heavy here, chest and legs, gets the most armor, so biggest bang for your buck there. And then everything's enchanted with stam. This is just max damage. So these are both stam enchants, and then 3 pieces here. I have weapon enchants on all these as well. The next piece would be 5-piece Hundings. So we're gonna get this through. You'll notice all my stuff still V14, really, minus these shoulders that I got out of the box, because I'm not completely set on this build. This is what I'm using right now though, and it works well, and it translates from stuff I had in 1.6. Whatever I end up with, ideally I'm going to get the second piece of this Molag Kina helm, and then I'll have this added bonus to proc overkill, and I'll be up in my damage here, higher than what it is now. But we're not there yet. So in the meantime, 5-piece Hundings, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then your 5th is coming out of your weapon, and your other weapon here, so we have 1 in each hand, and that gives us the 5-piece Hundings no matter which bar we're on, and then 1-piece Molag Kina, which is going to give us more weapon damage. Everything enchanted for stam, everything else here weapon damage. This hammer has a cold enchant, which is for PvP right now. That's not your best enchant for PvE, but you know, it gets the job done. Same here with this thing. In my offhand I have a Master's Dagger. When you use twin slashes here, which you're going to want to rotate in PvE, it's going to proc some more weapon damage for you. So that's just an added bonus. So that's pretty much the equipment. It's pretty straightforward stuff. The skills we'll go through. So 2-handed is your main bar to do damage with. In the first slot we have Thundering Presence, which the reason for this is right now it does proc Ravager, so it helps give us a chance to proc the Ravager. With that said, I really hate it. Every day I use it, I want to go back to Boundless Storm, and I probably will. So this is a choice for people. If you just PvE really, go with the Thundering. But if you PvP at all, you're going to want Boundless Storm back. This thing just eats up your stam badly. It lasts for 4 seconds, so it's kind of bogus. The other one lasts for like 8 seconds, and it costs magicka. So a lot of times in PvP, when you're sprinting around a dungeon and you're trying to maintain your major expedition, you're draining your stam when you have to spam this one twice as much, and it's eating your stam. So it's really screwy, but that's the reason for it. It helps proc Ravager. I don't know if that's intended. Maybe it is, but whatever. So that's what that's there for. The other thing is we get the passive Expert Mage down here, and that's why it's on this bar, because I want to throw as much from Storm Calling as I can on this bar for that reason. Second, we have Bound Armaments, the Stam Morph, which we're going to have on full time. It's going to be on both bars. And you know, that just gives you more max stam. It makes your heavy attacks hit harder, which you're actually going to utilize in PvE. On top of that, you want to get the stam recovery here. It's not huge because you really don't have much stam recovery anyway in this build, but you know, it's there. So third slot's our Wrecking Blow. This is our main damage. Fourth slot, Power Surge in place of Rally. Reason being, again, we're getting extra weapon damage out of it by having it on the bar here as a Storm Calling skill. Your crits will heal you. I have Power Surge, by the way. Take Crit Surge. I was doing a hybrid build. I just haven't switched it back over. But it's not a huge difference. It's another 20%. It's definitely significant, but yeah, take Crit Surge. I have to switch that over. Don't use Power Surge. You don't need major sorcery for anything. And then lastly, we have Executioner. I debated putting another Storm Calling skill on the bar. I feel like Executioner's not as strong now, but when a mob's low in an execute range when you're doing bosses, this is your best option. It also, even if you're not executing, you know, it amps your damage when mobs are low. So, Executioner. Lastly, we have Flawless Dawnbreaker. Increases your weapon damage by 8%. You're not really going to use this ult unless you have to /1/2. If you need DPS, usually I have Meteor over here, but for the one dungeon I was using Negate. So if you're in a fight and you're not using Negate, then you would just, you know, drop the Dawnbreaker in the fight. But in the cases where I do have Meteor, I prefer Meteor. The tick damage on Meteor is pretty insane. You get a lot of damage out of that ult. But anyway, bar 2. This is your AoE option, Steel Tornado, and the dual wield tree. Steel Tornado for the range, just the win. Secondly, I have Evil Hunter for the procs. You're going to get a lot of Evil Hunter procs. It still works with Caltrops. It works with everything you're doing. I love Evil Hunter. It's always on my bar. Third, we have Rending Slashes, which is the first skill up here. So this is the one that's going to bleed. We're going to cycle this in. So we'll switch bars and bleed stuff. And again, that also works with the Master Dagger here. But it's a nice, very nice stat. Ticks for a lot, crits much harder even than what it says here, but even without the crits, this is good damage. And lastly, we have Caltrops, which we want to run all the time. I'll throw a Meteor on the bar for now, just for sake of what I do with damage. And then we have Bound Armaments again, which we just toggle that on all the time. We're going to use Blue Food with this build to boost your health and your stam. They don't need magicka. So I only have V10 food here. I could get that a bit higher, actually. But I could also get my stam even higher if I put on, you know, V16 gear with enchants, which I haven't done. So as high as my stam is there, it could be higher. It'd probably be closer to 35k or something. But we'll get there. I'm going to revisit this video and this build. And stats should be better when I get the Molag Kina piece and all that. I'll just go show you general damage. Hey viewers, I'm just making a quick video here for the I'm gonna go show this a little bit. Again, I'll show how this works a little. Again, it's pretty straightforward. Second to this, I will also link some videos of me PvEing with this build, so you can see how it functions, the kind of damage you can expect to pull with it, which isn't the best, by the way, since the penetration nerf, all stamina builds are a little roughed up. Magic is generally superior, but it still pulls good numbers. It gets the job done, and it allows us to play a Stam Sorc, which, if you're here, you have some desire to play a Stam Sorc. And in PvP, you're going to have a good time. So, we'll, it looks like I went to Cyrodiil, actually, which I hit the wrong door. That's awful. Maybe I'll just shoot to a different zone. I was going to hop in the sewers real quick. Not ideal. Let's turn in our quests while we're here. Okay, I'll go to Craglorn and just hit some big mobs real quick to show you what the deal is with this build. So, I'm going to be killing mobs solo here, but this build should be used with a group. Unless you're doing small stuff, you can get away with that just fine. You have no heal over time. You don't have rally or vigor on your bar with this setup. You can slide them in and trade out small bits of damage, but this is really meant to be like a PvE group build. It has no regen. The only real regen you're gonna get is bringing in heavy attacks, which do great damage, and you can use them. So we'll see that here. The other thing is crit surge is going to heal. I of course have power surge. It's only going to heal me for 40% in this video. It can heal up to 60% with the other morph, but even that's enough, 40%, with how hard you hit with this build. So once we load in here, we'll hit a few mobs just to see the damage, and after that I'll cut the video short and link separate runs of stuff in like a dungeon, which is where you'll really see the build come into play. But before I do that, I'll give you a quick run on what I do with PvP, because it's going to be a little bit before I put something out on PvP, I think. But I will show you what I do and also link builds to that, because I've been using this build in PvP and it works very well. So let me just cone these guys in a little. Drop Caltrops, we put up Evil Hunter, we put up Power Surge, we refresh our armor. In this case, you know, I can start in with the dot there, I swing over, I Wrecking Blow, Heavy Attack, Execute. Use heavy attacks a lot. They're really good now, especially when you have bound armaments running. It you know, it amps your damage, and your damage is really high. So that stuff's really good. I also have CP in that, heavy attacks. But here's your, you can see the life drain off crit surge is really good, and you got good crit percentage with, you know, let these things beat me up a little. There we go, thank you. You see that drain right off to the side, 4.7 and 4.9. That's with 40%, that could be 60%. So that's not too shabby at all. And I have decent amount of health. I have 21k health with nothing put into health, because I am the Orc Master Race, which everybody should be. This guy's a boss. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. You really have to manage your stam again. Heavy attacks. We want to keep our armor back up. Oof. We need to score a crit here to heal. Oh, I just did a roll instead. This could be bad. This is bad. This guy hit me too hard. So this is the thing. When you group with this build, you're not going to have any kind of burst heal if you don't have rally, if you don't have vigor. And that's why when I run this build in PvP, I specifically put those on. So it's a good thing to see, you know, what you lack here, because you have to be aware of it when using this build. This build again is not meant to be solo. I'll show you the solo, a more solo variation I run in PvP here in a sec. I'll show you how I change my bars and why. As you can see, this this lightning armor doesn't last very long. It's really annoying how long it takes, or how short it is rather. Oh, here's mobs that are spawning. Honestly, mobs are pretty good. You can crit surge off them with Steel Tornado. Very handy. As long as you crit and you actually have stamina, which I've run out of. And I've been hit up again. So see, I'm just out of stamina. Now when you run this with a Templar, you have shards. You're going to rotate heavy attacks. This is what you'll see when I do it in dungeon. This is what this build can't do out here. That's why you do push your damage to the limit. But let me show you the bar I run for PvP, which changes up. And this is a good example. This build. This is a good example of the difference you'll have in keeping yourself alive. So this is a slight variation I run in PvP right now. Now there's a couple tweaks I'm making here and there. So on the first bar, I dumped off some of the things that added the 2% weapon damage. I put in Stampede. It's not Crit Rush because Stampede's, the slows are really good right now. We have Streak Utility. This is my 1.6 bar pretty much. It's the same. And we have Rally instead of Crit Surge. We move Crit Surge over to here though, to have, now the buffs are redundant but the sources of healing are different. So we have Rally as a heal over time and a burst heal option, but we can still use Power Surge to heal through the fight. Everything else is pretty much the same. I just slide those over there. Now this will give me, it won't give me a lot of regen. Here are the other things I run in PvP. If I have Templars, I won't do this. I will still rely on my Templars. But if I don't, I put in these 3-piece of jewelry with Stam Recovery. It's the same Ravager set, but there are 3 Stam Recovery. And then on top of that, I put in Daedric Summoning on the first bar. I dropped Flawless Dawnbreaker, so I dropped some more passive damage there. But I can slide this in. Make sure I get the right ones here. Stam Recovery. Stam Recovery. Okay. So I added 3 Stam Recovery enchants instead. And I threw on the Atronarch, which gave us 20% regen by having a Daedric Summoning skill on the bar. So this is going to give us more regen. I should have looked at the numbers, but let me just take a look now what my regen is. So it's 1765 with this. Let's look at it without real quick, just so we have a comparison of what we're gaining here. That'll go up as well when you kill something with the two-handed. You get the passive stam regen there as well. So now with this setup, and we don't have that thing on the bar, the skill that gives us another 20%, we drop down to 770. So instead we're going from 770, and this is an amazing regen, but it's enough to get you a tick to do stuff, because that's all you really ever need. You just need another tick to get another skill out and use your heavy attacks. So we don't have the bleed on there. We have a lot more healing. We can take damage, we can afford to. We can heavy attack and take damage. You want to keep your stam up. Unlike in the last fight, God, that guy hit me hard. Here's the thing with Stampede. Stampede is gonna crit, so you can use that as a heal, but you also have Rally. See that burst heal from Rally there? So that's important. This guy spawned that. He's kind of a pain in the ass. I'm gonna move in here with him. He loves the heavy attack too. So I'm just cycling heavy attack, wrecking blow, heavy attack, wrecking blow. And when I need the burst heal, I'll rally. I can streak to buy myself time, but you want to keep surge up. God, I need a pot really too. That's the thing, this build still doesn't have a lot of stam regen. I'm used to running like 2500 to 3k from last patch, and I don't have that. There's the crit surge ring you see on the side, like how much your health shoots up. So that's why I'm not posting something really on the PvP build, because this honestly isn't viable solo. Like, you can't go in 1vx with this build, and that's what I'm going to work on next. But this will get you through some PvE, small group content. You have people to work with, some Templars especially. They are really, really critical on restoring stam. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now, and you know, I'll have more videos coming out on 1vx, 1v1, stuff like that. Those builds will be different. So thanks for watching, guys.